Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, going to bring a late night update. It is Wednesday, June 5th, and in this video, I'll be going over Bitcoin, NVDA, QQQ, and S&P 500. We'll start off on Bitcoin first, of course. We'll go down to the daily chart because, it's still pretty much the same things going on. So, what do we see here? Bitcoin had a phenomenal past couple of days. And as I said last month, I'm going to say, or maybe a month and a half ago, May 1st. So, May 1st, around the beginning of May, when we broke back into the range from this deviation, okay, we deviated out of the range and back in. I said when you deviate from a pattern or a range, you usually have a nice move up to the opposite side of the range and tend to break out. And you don't usually see the bottom or the opposite end of the range that you deviated from, so to say, right? For this case, you don't usually see the bottom of this range get tested again. Okay, that's what I said at the beginning of May. And obviously there's going to be volatility. And so far, so good. Now, there's still a chance that we can range and stay in this range and test the bottom of this range, stay in here for a couple more months to come, for sure. It's definitely possible. Anything is possible. But the likely scenario is that we do break out of this range without getting tested in the bottom part of this range again. Okay. Now going on to the daily, or weekly, sorry. We can see that we did confirm a green dot back May 20th. Weekly stochastic is curving up, VWAP is positive, and money flow is pointed back up. 21 weekly EMA is pointed straight up. The likely scenario is higher. We can talk about some upside targets. We'll take it from the high to the low. Now, if we break out of 73,590, which was the all-time high on Bitcoin, our next likely target would be 84.3K. Okay, that would be the first target. After that would be 101,000. Okay. Now, for short term, we can definitely see a correction. And a correction meaning like we can maybe see a back test again to the 0.5, 50% of this overall range, which would be right here, 66.3K. But we don't have to. But if we do get some sort of pullback, I would look for there, to 50% of this range. But if we're looking at this 4 hour, money flow is it pointed up still? No, it's actually sideways, but the 4 hour stochastic has now been reset, making a higher low in the stochastic against price. Meaning that we likely have a nice uptrend forming. There are also no bearish divergences on the 4 hour. Market cipher B momentum waves. Again, just added confluence to the bullish scenario with the 4 hour 21 EMA pointing up and price holding above all four EMAs, the 21, 50, 100, and 200. Bitcoin looks very bullish. Okay. The bearish scenario would be a first break of this 50% and breaking this key support area here between 64K and 60K. If we break 60K, good chance that we could come back to this low and swipe it, in my opinion. But you don't have to. You could also use this area of support. This is a nice overall just a range of reaccumulation, it seems like. So markets are bullish until proven otherwise. Going on to NVDA. I made a video on this Sunday night, I believe, and I was talking about a trade setup possibly happening if this was a short or a local top here, like a short-term top, and NVIDIA back testing the 50% retracement. Well, now I have to take that trade setup out because NVIDIA is bullish, just going for, it's just choosing violence against the bears. And not that I was a bear. Like, I believe NVIDIA goes 1500 plus this cycle. I mean, you can see like 1800 is the next target after 14. And since we broke above this 1158 level, we're likely going to go to 1400. Obviously, we can talk about 1300 because there's confluence at 1300 with Fibonacci's as well. Okay. But the daily's forming a green dot here. Money flow pointed up, VWAP positive crossover, and daily stochastic is reset and hasn't even started curving back up yet. NVIDIA's probably going higher. Okay, that's just basic look at this chart. That's it. Also, the 21 is pointed up on the daily still. Weekly, money flows thick, stochastic is almost halfway. NVIDIA is very strong. It's the baby of the stock market. Overall, it's a still extremely bullish stock, right? So here we go about that 1300 confluence. Off that shorter term fib, it seems that 1400 is likely to get hit, right? But if we take a fib from the high of March 4th and May 13th, we can see that 1330 is an area of confluence and likely can act as a strong area of resistance, right? If we break above 1330, we can talk about that 14 level and 1550 on NVIDIA. But I do believe that most likely we'll find some decent resistance at 1330 as the weekly 21 EMA is still pointed up, but price action is getting very far away from the 21 EMA, meaning that there's likely going to have to be some sort of little consolidation, right? And let the 21 EMA catch up. Okay. It can't just go up for, I mean, it's possible, but that's not likely that it just keeps going and going without coming back close to the 21 weekly EMA. Overall, NVIDIA is still bullish. Okay. Extremely fucking bullish. Going on to the QQQ. Now, before I go on to the QQQ, we can talk about a bearish scenario. A bearish scenario it's very easy. If you break 761 on a higher time frame basis, going from the daily to the weekly, start getting closures under 761, we can talk about being bearish on the video. Does not look likely we're going to break that. QQQ. So here we go with, I haven't pulled up this chart in a long time. Wow. I'll take off this fib for now. Take off the EMAs. I made this pattern back, August, September. The measured move is to 490 for QQQ. So that's interesting. But let me pull that Fibonacci back up that I had before. And QQQ did test its golden pocket. So this seems like a very valid fib and back tested 450. Now the next target for QQQ looks like 516. That would be another 11.5% move to the upside for the NASDAQ. Now we're looking at the weekly. There are bearish divergences forming on the weekly time frame with money flow coming out just a bit. But as I've said before, when it comes to stocks, especially ETFs like the QQQ, this can happen for a long time. Okay, it can happen for a while, and price can just continue grinding up. Okay, it's not like crypto where there's a ton of volatility. So, got to take it with a grain of salt. But overall, this is an extremely bullish looking chart. There's no doubt about it. The bear scenario again, if you break 414 on the Nasdaq, we can talk about being bearish. Other than that, it's higher lows and grinding upwards. S&P is going to be very similar. The bearish scenario will start off first. S&P, if it breaks 494, talk about being bearish. The next target for S&P 500 is going to be 595. So almost 6. It would be what, 6,000 on the SPX, I guess. But 595 on SPY. And that would be another 11.5%, just like the NASDAQ. Okay, very similar look to NASDAQ. I don't really feel like repeating myself. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, markets are very bullish. I hope you all have bought the dip the past couple months and been accumulating even before the past couple of months. Because it looks like markets are heating up for another leg. And yeah, I'll leave it there with that. I hope everybody makes a shit ton of fucking money. And yeah, peace out. See you in the next one.